All right. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Laura Canfield Show, the Awaken to Happiness Now Global Series. Thank you so much for being here with us today. And my good friend, Audrey Light Language, is back with us today. And we're going to be talking about the dissolution of the illusion, deconstructing the construct. And so we always have a wonderful time with Audrey. Audrey does these wonderful processes and light language, language of the Akash, talking to beings of light, and just always so much fun. So today, I know we're going to experience that as well. And Audrey will be taking live Q&A. So, you know, it's like the answers that sometimes she brings forward is like, yeah, it's so relevant, so important, and it's like what we need to hear. So we're going to be talking about the dissolution of the illusion, deconstructing the construct, and the importance of stepping out of old beliefs and paradigms for expanded awareness and consciousness in resonance with the higher frequencies of the new. And the thing is, we are in the new now. So it is time to step out of the old beliefs, let go of the old beliefs, and step into the frequencies and the vibrations of the new, okay? So Audrey, welcome to the show.
Welcome, welcome, welcome. Thank you so much for the opportunity to be with you again and your beautiful family of listeners. And I look forward, yes, to bringing through some of that energy for all of them. And also the sacred key code numbers. So that was a big
Yes.
part of it as well. So we'll talk about that later on.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, I'm glad you're here. I'm glad you're here to talk with us because there's like so much going on right now on the planet with all of us humanity personally as we are expanding, growing, but also, you know, sometimes we connect into the collective and get sucked into the fear and the drama and all that wonderful stuff. I say wonderful stuff, but you know, you all know what I mean. But the thing is, you know, it's also a really important time and a special time of so much change. There's so much change happening, and I'm like just so grateful because I'm experiencing and learning and broadening my awarenesses and, you know, getting more in touch with who I am and seeing what's not working, seeing what is working, seeing what I like, seeing what I don't like, all that wonderful stuff. So much is happening. So even amongst all the chaos that we're in, there's also a lot of growth happening right now, right?
Oh, yes, these are wonderful, miraculous times. I know there's so much going on, but the opportunity that is happening, right? That didn't happen for lifetimes, eons, and that's spinning in the loops, So the true awakening, not a distracted, illusionary awakening, but the true, real one for that expansion, like you're speaking about. So the opportunity for that, that's huge, lifetimes. We haven't had that happen. And it's wonderful, your shows and works like that I'm doing, so it can support everyone through that, and actually this morning I got something talking about like the new renaissance, right? Stepping out of the dark ages, right? Like that is happening again, and all that potential that will be there in a renaissance, when the light is being shown in that darkness, and so it has a resonance, oh my goodness, the resin, I can't say the word right now again, the renaissance, the renaissance. And so that's beautiful because it is expansion. And it's so good to hear that you're experiencing that, and we're here to help others through that. Because sometimes if people's hearts have been so locked up, in the traumas and so much that has gone on life upon life, sometimes they need some help, right, to get back to that heart and release those old energies and beliefs and such, So these type of works helps that, so they can access, as we're saying, all those higher potentials which are available at the higher frequencies, So that is why works as these are so important, to assist them fast track quantum, to get right at that with all those potentials that are available now.
And I mean, don't get me wrong, I get it. A lot of you are being challenged, you know, physically, emotionally, mentally, abundance wise, with relationships, with family, with, you know, I get it. You are being challenged. And so that is real, right? But also, you know, it's sometimes we have to look beyond that and say, okay, what are the opportunities here? What are the possibilities here, right, for us at this time? There are some things we can't control. Like I can't control technology always, right? So we can't always control what's happening out there in the collective, but we can control what we're experiencing and feeling in our being, in our core, you know, and we can change our vibration. We can change what our focus is, right?
Oh, definitely. And that's why this work is so important because what we're going through are the experiences, right? That we've come in to have experiences. I know people are always saying it's lessons, but for me, it's not lessons. We've come for experiences. And through the
Hmm.
experience, we gain knowledge and a knowing about the thing and about ourselves and creation itself as well through all of creation, right? Having these experiences. So we not only know things in a conceptual way, we developed, right, like natural biological technology, our vessels, right, to be able to add the experiential knowing and knowledge to a thing, you know? So that is everything that's happening. We've come into an experience of duality, polarity, the experiment, the game, the adventure, whatever you want to call it, you know?
Hmm.
And that is why, like eternal beings, you know, that could never, they would, you know, we don't die, we don't get sick, we don't experience lower expressions, you know, of those lower energies. So we've come in to experience a fullness of creation as all that we are. So to explore the density, the lower, right, vibrations and take part in that duality polarity, that is how we eternal beings are having these experiences, right, of pain and anger and upset and death and all of this. It was supposed to be experience that we go in and that's it and we come out, right? And we remember and recall. But unfortunately, that technology, right, having all the experiences, because my work says, tell them. It's like a video game. Years ago, they told me.
Hmm.
And now, when people understand virtual reality, right, because the system is selling them virtual reality, right, they understand it now. It says, explain to them that is what all this is, right? Your consciousness, your eternal beingness entering into a vehicle, a type of technology to have experiences upon a platform that is a type of technology. But we're talking about, we are biological technology, not the AI, you know,
Right.
which is a whole nother story.
Yeah.
So we're here to have those experiences, you know, but unfortunately, that system was contaminated with a virus. And so the stuckness, you know, the holding us stuck, so they would feed off of our light and maintain their agendas. So now these beautiful times, so we can get out of that and stand in our own mastery, right? They use the darker magic. They kept us down not to recall and remember, right, that we have access to true magic. And that's why this is like a renaissance and a new opportunity. So we can shed all that old, be the pillar of light, right? Male and
Hmm.
female energy balance between us, even the chakras we speak of. And again, I'm sorry, but this is about old beliefs and paradigms, right? To be set aside. It's a beautiful foundation. You have a nice, strong foundation, but you got to build from there. You just don't stay in the foundation when you're building something, right? So to understand, the chakras were used and contaminated, unfortunately, as energy centers to keep people stuck, right? In those lies of the lessons and repeat over and over into the point of stagnation, which is a contradiction in the body of creation. And so now it's about turning all the chakras on. So we are that pillar of light. And as we are that balanced pillar of light, we are in resonance with the new potentials, right? That are out there. So this work is to help shed some of that release, right? So we pour in the light more and more, higher vibration, higher experiences to then take part of, right? And as we take the energetic shackles off as well. So we're not looping in those same traumas and dramas and all that has gone on. Why are we experiencing so much of that right now? Because the system that was in control, right, the dense, lower vibrations, those beings, entities, whatever you want to call them,
Hmm.
parasites, vampires, right? They are the ones that wanted to have you in the upset, in all this trauma and such. So you would feed, right, your energy, the lower vibrations coming off of you for them to maintain them. So this is all about no more of that, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's the important thing. No more of that. We're going to seal the old book of life, right? And we're going to write in the new book of life. So that's why this is so important. And to give everyone assistance as much as we can while they're walking through these things, right? Because everything is crumbling so that we can get to that new creation, right?
Exactly. And recognizing how everything is crumbling, how, and not just collectively on the grand scale, but in your life, is there something changing in your life? Are your relationships changing? Is your body requiring something different? Are your emotions, more heightened? It's like, what's going on with you individually as well? It's not always about just focusing on the collective and what's going on out there. Focus on you. What do you require? You and the body. What does your body require? Right? What does your heart require? Like, what is going on for you? Because this is the time to really get clear and start to go deeper within yourself, so that, because let's face it, a lot of times we, because of COVID and lockdowns and things like that, we have a little bit more time, some of us, to focus on ourselves, right? So take advantage of that. And that's what I'm saying. It's a great opportunity for that. If you can take advantage of this time to focus on yourself, what you require, your next step, your next spiritual evolution. Where are you going, right?
Yes, and this is totally about self-love, right? You're
Yep.
going to tend and care for self, right? And love, right? For self. That is when you tend to yourself, right? And through that, my type of work, you also help your generations in both directions through the DNA, right? Because it's DNA work. So you are here doing a multiple. People are always talking about their missions, and I say you're doing your mission right now because you're here, you're embodied, you're holding your light, right? While others sleep and have no awareness. So you're doing that, right? Then you're taking the opportunity of this embodiment to untangle, right, from all that old energy, right, to tend to your heart so you can get to your heart, open your heart. And when you're doing that, you're helping humanity and the collective as well. And this is not only for humanity and Gaia, this is rippling out to all of creation, right, what is happening here. So it's very, very important. And just the littlest steps, right, just to make a step, then you begin to crack apart what was held, like so frozen and so stuck, right? Just to begin those little baby steps so those cracks could begin, right? And to really help people.
And that's what I think people don't understand, that sometimes it's just those little steps that you take, those little awarenesses that you get, those little changes in your lifestyle that you makes a huge difference collectively. So everything that we do affects the planet and affects humanity at the same time, right? So every little thing that we do for ourselves is a big bonus for everybody else as well, right? So, I still think that in this industry, we're still focused on service, serving the collective, serving the planet, but we also have to focus on ourselves. If we forget ourselves, we can't really help anybody else. The famous, mask in the, in the airplane, right? The air mask in the airplane, whatever it's called, oxygen mask, right? It's so relevant, and it's still so true. We have to take care of ourselves, focus on us so that we can help in a greater way everybody else. But the thing is, I just want to, but even when you just do for yourself and you're not focusing on everybody else, you're still helping everybody else as well.
Exactly. And if you look at it in a way, they talk about your cup, right?
Yeah.
Your cup runneth over, right? But if you are giving and giving and giving, right, your cup, you're draining yourself energetically, especially when we understand what this system was part of, right? Just to suck all your energy out of you, right? So you must also then fill your cup. That's why I'm called healer to the healers and all, because think about it. Why would I have from spirit the name healer to healers, right? Because even healers who are constantly giving and doing so much, they also need to take a pause, right? To drink from the wellspring that is said that I bring through. What do you drink from the wellspring? So you can take a sip to be fortified, nourished, strengthened, right? Help fill your cup again so you're fortified and strong so you can continue to do that. Because even just holding our energy here is huge, right? And people need help with and nourishment, right? Fortification, right? Help fill their cup again so they can continue to do that and not feel so depleted, because you're being bombarded in so many ways. What's happening out in creation, right? What's been happening here that's attempting to bother you, right? And many darker agendas. This is huge what's happening, So to take an opportunity, if one can, to receive works that'll help nourish and support them, and help them access what is happening out there, even more so because you get those old energies out of the way, the old shackles, the old entanglements, working in the unconscious, subconscious childhood issues, right? It's so expansive. So it's so important so they can access those higher vibratory potentials. And I speak the Akash, right? Many read the Akash, but for me, in my perspective, this is to get one to clear the old Akash, right? What the potentials are at that vibration. So then we're at a higher vibration. So then it's as we're rewriting the Akash, because now we have higher potentials that are available, right? And to access. So that's speaking the language of the Akash to help them,
Beautiful. And this fortification and filling up our cup, that is, it's more like a maintenance now. It's a regular everyday, if you can, maintenance, to fill up your cup, because we are being drained on a regular basis. Let's face it, when you're on these calls every day, like I am, you're going to take a little bit of a hit from time to time, right? So it's so vital to clear your field and replenish yourself continuously, like continuously meaning regularly, right? And so you have to. This is not one of those things like, oh, it'd be nice to be able to do. No, if you really want to thrive in this new reality, in the new earth, in the new way of being moving forward, you have to take care of your energetic system and your body at the same time, right?
Exactly, right? One of the etheric, mental, physical, emotional body, right? That's why this work is fantastic. I do, because it's tending to all those bodies, right? And not only those bodies, but to your soul, right?
Yeah.
Which is your true essence of your being. People think a soul is a soul, right? And I'm called a soul architect, and I'm telling spirit, what are you talking about? A soul is a soul. Like, oh, no, no, no. This is their soul evolution, right? You're an architect at soul, an energy engineer. So they have been, let's say, distracted in physicality and looping over and over again, right? And the false reality that has been taught to them through all the systems for lifetimes, that they don't understand the bigger picture of them, right? So it's important in these times to also tend to their true essence, right? Which is their soul. Because one of the messages I brought through at the time of the Great Divide, right? No more fence sitting. Where are you going to find yourself in the time of the Great Divide, right? Devolution, right? Parasitic, non-self-sustaining systems, or you're going to find yourself in resonance, right, with the new self-sustaining systems, true creative systems, and so that's important to tend to one's soul essence, because that's what vibration they are, right? Their signature, their energetic stamp and signature. So where they're going to be able to find themselves, I know people love to talk about 5D now, and I saw some people talking about 9D and 12D, and I was so excited about that, right? Because yes, 5D, right, to step to the awareness, but not just limitation of that, right? Because you have potential. All the D's are vibratory, consciousness and expressing of creation, right? So why would one want to limit themselves when they're standing in their divine birthright, their sovereignty, their power, and their godhood, right? They can access so much of creation, right? Because they're a creator being standing in their godhood, to begin to remember how to access that true magic, right? Because we know very well all that has happened is others' agendas using the dark magic, that they knew how to do. So now it's a time for us to have an opportunity to understand, to use the energy, right, as we call it, like a true magic, and to create and change one's situations and circumstances, not only for ourselves, our families, humanity, the collective, and all of creation, right? Turning a page to write a new experience in the new book of life for creation, and us through that, which are embodiments of it, right? Aspects of the divine. People always talk about source or God or the field of consciousness, whatever name you want to call it, right? All names and the unnameable, as it's out there, separate from them, right? Serving God, serving source, whatever they want to say. They have to understand this is a close relationship like this, because you are that embodied as a droplet of the ocean is from the ocean, right? You're an aspect of that, beautifully expressing in your own unique way. So creation gets to know itself through all of you and experience itself through all of you, gets to know, make itself known to another of itself, and that's so beautiful. So these are some of the shattering of the old illusions, right? Or the belief systems and such, to understand the bigger picture of things, right? Recall, remember one's true self,
And I think more and more people are starting to get that awareness, especially all the people that are on these types of calls, right?
Yes.
We're starting to become more aware of who we are, what we are, and that we're starting to understand what some of our limitations are or were, right? And that, now it's like, no, those limitations, they don't really affect me as much anymore. It's like I'm beyond that. There's something else is possible for me, right? And there's something possible for all of us if we're willing to allow it, and if we're willing to receive it, and if we're willing to take the chance of taking that next step, right,
Yes,
into
because
the
we
new.
yes, because we've come originally, why we took part in the game, in the virtual reality, right, was to experience limitation and such. Like I said, explore the experiment of duality, polarity, and all that entailed, and the side effect that I say, right, that came forth from that, of those that played so deeply and forgot themselves, that became parasitic or vampiric, right? So this is now to wake up really and understand, right, that they created that stuckness. And so we are closing the book on that, so we can truly, right, begin to get back to that place that we were when we began originally and entered into this. But now we have imagined that added knowing of this experience, right, that we've been through, that adds to that knowing of ourselves and creation, right, that we've witnessed. And we're the ones, one of my work says, to bring through to everyone that they are the shining, triumphant, golden ones, right? The ones who've been able to walk through all this, and despite the multiple attempts, right, to keep you down and
Mhm.
keep you in forgetting and sleep, you, those shiny, triumphant, golden ones, were able to wake up, right? And not only be it in a word, like words, concepts, right? Love, unity, oneness. No, you can't just blue that. You have to be it in your essence, right? And walk that talk. So my work says, those of you who have been able to do that, you go down in the book of life as the shiny, triumphant, golden ones to your predecessors, which are you, right? Incarnated, your generations and such, because we are the ones that walk through that. So never again will creation have to open that again and experience that again. If any portion of creation wants to have that experience, they can access it in concept, right, in the book of life, but never experientially walk through it again, right? The duality, that polarity, that density, that depth of forgetting, because then one would open up that parasitic, let's say, plague and that forgetting. So never ever again, because it's not necessary, because we did it. We did it for creation, right? So how beautiful is that when someone is out there thinking they're not worthy, right, or such? Think
Mhm.
about that. Think about that, what they were part of and what were they were doing, so give themselves, that was quite a journey, give themselves, that care and that love,
Yeah.
and that appreciation of the bigger picture of awareness that they can have now, of what they were a part of and who and what they are, that's huge.
And also acknowledge how far we've all come, like, if we look back at our journeys, I mean, I know mine's been like all over the place, to be honest, but it's like, oh man, I've come far from where I used to be to where I am now. And it's like, give yourself a pat on the back, because,
Yes.
it's like less than 1% of us, of humanity, that is actually, recognizing that something else is possible, less than 1%. That's not a lot, right? And so we know that something else is possible. We know that this is all an illusion, right? And each one of us in our own way who are doing our spiritual practice, I use the word spiritual, but whatever it happens to be for you, we're making a difference. We are changing the trajectory of how we are moving forward on the planet as humanity, right? We are all doing that, but slowly but surely. But it's about recognizing that, yeah, things have changed. There's been a shift, right? And do you want to continue, like, which way do you want to go? Do you want to continue evolving, and trusting your knowing, being your sovereign self, being your God self, recognizing that's who you are, right? Or do you want to get caught up in the drama and trauma and the illusion again, right? And we sometimes we get caught up, we get attacked, all this stuff happens. I get it, I know, but it's about recognizing, oh shoot, that's not really real. It's like, let me go back and follow what's really real and true for me. That's not it.
And you're speaking about, well, what is so important for one to begin to have that awareness, right? That discernment, observation of themselves. Remember when I come on the show and I always talk about the dock?
Mhm.
Everybody's standing on a dock, that it's moving. We'll just say it again, right? It's not a solid dock, right? With the pylons under the water steady
It's a
on the
floating
ground.
dock.
It's
Yeah.
a floating dock. So you're
Yeah.
standing on that dock and you're trying to balance, right? When all that's going on, that's like all the experiences that you're talking about,
Yep.
situations, circumstances. You're trying to balance. Not only are you trying to balance, you're juggling at the same time. And you're not juggling the balls from one hand to the other. You've got 5 balls one hand, 5 balls the other. Responsibility to self and others, and physical, the spiritual, right? The more that we know
Mhm.
that it is. So here you are balancing and juggling, right? Sometimes you're thrown into the water, and that's exactly what you're talking about. It's not water, it's the energies, right? Those experiences that we have, attacks or such, right? And it's okay, because we're human and we've come to feel, right? And have feelings, right? To know the depth of a thing. But the point is to have awareness of what's going on, like you're talking about what's happening. Catch yourself, catch those emotions, grab the reins, right? Swim back to that dock, sit on the edge, catch your breath, stand back up and balance and juggle again, because that's empowering yourself, nourishing yourself. If you go wrapped in the story and the energy while you're in those energies, right, you're going to go down. I tell people, like a waterfall, the rapids, a waterfall, the rapids. What's that? Being tossed and turned in that energy, in that story, in that emotion, right? And you don't want to do that, because while you're doing that, what's in the water, what's in the energy, are other entities that are going to feed off of you while you're being wrapped up in that, right? Because they also control people and keep them stuck and feed off of their emotions. So this is why, okay, I felt it, but let me, right, hold the helm of the ship, I say, right? That's on a stormy sea. You don't want to go down in the rocky to the rocks, right? You want to hold the helm of the ship, be the captain, weather that storm to better seas, right? All examples of what you're talking about, but that wider awareness of what is happening and going on there, you know? So as you said, okay, and also I talk about the stage show, right? The people in the audience and the people on stage are so in the emotion in the story, right? But how about those that are backstage looking from the curtains, right? They have the wider view. So for everyone to kind of try to take themselves out of it a bit and look from that view from backstage, so you have a wider view and understanding what's happening, what's going on. So you can begin to detach from that a bit, which empowers you, right? And then takes you down a different path, right? Of higher vibratory potentials that lie there for you, then where going down the waterfall and rapids is going to lead you. It won't be a good place, you know?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
And, Jennifer is asking a great question. She says, I'm finding the same thing, that we have to fill our cup first, but our loved ones can sometimes tend to deplete us. How do we say no? Or so that's all about boundaries, creating boundaries, and also, recognizing what's important for you. Go ahead, Audrey.
Yes, the bigger thing is when we understand the bigger picture, right, of what's happening here. Sometimes our loved ones or other people, right, do unfortunately have entities or other negative things that have held them, for lifetimes or generations, whatever it may be, that are actually stirring them, right, through the emotions, through the story, because they want to unbalance the person who's being on the dock beautifully to take them into the water, right? Sometimes we don't go there ourselves, but situations, circumstances, loved ones, friends, whatever, right? What's happening out there, as you said before in the collective, could take one off that balancing, right? Into that off the dock down a waterfall rapids, right? Because those entities want to feed, right? Through them, through you then, So have the bigger picture of what's happening, what's going on. So you can look at it with those bigger, wider eyes, right? Because one may want to be angry or upset at someone, but when you realize what may be happening there within them, that it's not truly them, but some other energies and forces moving them. So you can go to a place of compassion, right? And again, move yourself out of that bigger picture, right? To understand what's going on. And I'm not going to be part of this play, right? Seeing it from behind the curtains of the stage, right? Rather than being engulfed in the show that they want to pull you in, right? To take away your power, right? So that's when we're talking about power. It's also understand what's happening going on and how are you going to walk through that, right? So you can stay empowered instead of feeding into all of that and being fed off of your energy, as you know. So exactly saying no or having the bigger picture, so you disengage yourself from that as much as you can, right? Or handle yourself when you're in that engagement up to what level you're going to let it get to, right? Because that could spiral in a minute, right? Sometimes,
but
unfortunately.
you may not know, like Jennifer may not know that her loved one, has an entity that's affecting them. Like, I mean, to be honest,
it's not even like you need to know, but when you see somebody like being narcissistic, right, or a very, just behaving not in very nice ways, right, which get a person upset in the first place, right, because there's not a level of balance that you can interact and have a conversation and work things out, right, from a higher level. That person can't access those potentials at the higher level, which would be much calmer, communicating, right, talking, each person caring about the other, how we're going to go through this in sense and sensibility and love. Sometimes that person that's not accessible to them, because remember, it's not only been this life, but multiple lives that they've been playing in that same loop, right?
Right. Yeah.
So just to have wider eyes to see, which would be like a tool, I would think, to help someone to get through that situation, right? It's not just what we're looking at as storing the situation, much deeper things that are at play there,
For sure. Brenda has her hand raised for a while. She'd like to ask you a question. So I didn't mention this at the beginning. Maybe I did, who knows? But if you do have a question for Audrey, you can raise your hand or you can type your question in the chat, okay? Go ahead, Brenda.
Hi, thank you.
Hi.
What in my Akash are old energies most need clearing now? I work as a healer and I've been doing a lot of clearing in my Akash, but I'm ready to move to the next level.
Beautiful. Now, my work, when I would do the language of the Akash for someone, we don't go there like a reading, which reads all these right? Different stories of the Akash, or to put a light on these different things, because we are, as you must understand, multidimensional beings, right? Who have looped in this, right? Many, 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 many lives. My work is able to reach hundreds, thousands, right? At a time. So we're not going to have time to talk about a story of particulars, right? Because the more important thing is to get in there, right? Get at that, because everything is connected, right? One thing to another, as we understand what could be happening from another life is a bleed through in this life, and why there's a situation or circumstance. So rather than to shine a light to say, oh, this, and this, right? Which people have gotten very used to. They want to hear a story or hear something. My work says, in ways, people have got addicted to that in a bit of a way, which could also be a distraction. Yeah, I can't wait to hear the next story about me, or shine a light on something. This is quick, right? We don't even have time for all of that. And why want to do that when your soul knows that, right? Your beingness in your mind, which is a labyrinth in the conscious mind, doesn't have that understanding, right? But your unconscious, subconscious, your soul essence already knows that. It's more important to get the work done. So it's an automatic, right? Rewrite, right? Clear whatever needs to be cleared, but beyond the story of you and humanness that may be looking at something, right? Because we're so huge, so many lives, so many beingness, so many ancestral generational things, you know, so many agreements. So rather than pinpoint a specific, it's just, you know, getting into the files, you know, moving that out of the way. So you have that upgraded. So now you have the, more importantly, rather than thinking, worrying about all that, like, why are we going to go in the old library? And forgive me for whoever reads it, but why are we going in an old library that only has books and recipes and maps, so to say, of the potential of the old and the old energy that was there, right? So that's why, clear it, get it out of the way, so we could be in resonance, right? Rewrite, right? To rewrite you in resonance with the new Akash and the new potentials that you are yet going to write, right? As a creator being who's in remembrance, right, of themselves, right? And to use the real magic accessible to you. So you, as my work says, are the master and the masterpiece, one and the same, right? This is not our higher self out there. Tell me. We're so used to that. This is now you and the higher self blended together, right? You're walking your godhood. This is not everybody else out there, right? Beautiful as it is, angels, masters, and galactics, right? But if you want to think the Christed one, right? The Christ said, you shall do even greater things than I have done. What is that? It's time to use that magic, you know? And not everybody and everything out there. Us, right? Standing in our godhood, ourselves from within here, right? Because out there is also a type of biological technology, you understand, like an AI virtual reality. If you, that's why there's a bunch of people saying, I was Jesus, or I was Mary, or I was Cleopatra, right? Because you're interacting with a virtual reality that's very sophisticated, you know, that we as eternal beings was devised, you know, eons and eons in ancient times for us eternal beings to come into, to have experiences, right? So all these beings were set up for us to interact with, you know. So you have to realize the bigger picture in the new. When we stand in the new as a pillar of light in the new, meaning when I say new, meaning new, right? Future, not the old future that didn't play out well. The old future was transhuman AI. We could not change things, all of you beautiful ones, right? Going forward from that future point. We see now people, all this stuff going on, right? Worrying about the vaccination, making people, you know, transhuman AI. We are actually witnessing how that happened. And we couldn't change it, like it happened already. People think, oh, we don't want it to happen. It happened already. We couldn't change it from there. Creation lost something of itself with that. So we came back, right? Light workers, beautiful ones, right? We've come back here to that old future point of now, eternal now, our present, right? That future points, old future points past, our now, to get in concordance, right? And with the new future point. And so to be in that new future point and stay in your godhood, when you are there, and we're making the connection right from here, because yes, it's done, yes, it's there, but we have to keep the connection, because past, present, future all interact, right? So when we are in that new future point, standing in our godhood, the pillar of light, do you think there's going to be angels, masters, collective, everybody else to interact with there? No, there's not. They take the step back, because who are they? They are source expressing with those masks, right? While it was playing in the games that it was playing to support itself us aspects of it while we were going through forgetting. So now it's time to, when you're there, you have direct connection to source. Yes, the other beings are there, loving, beautiful beings, but you have your direct connection to source, no longer needing an intermediary, right? As in the old way of playing, they were all the intermediaries, you know? So this is a very expanded understanding and view, you know? So that's why beautiful. I'm going to speak Akash for you and everybody. Lara, is it okay if I just bring some stuff in for everybody right now?
Yes, please.
It's okay?
Yes.
All right. So everyone's going to receive this, right? You, Brenda, and everyone, right? As it ripples through. So here we go. Let's see what comes in the Akash language. We're probably most likely going to come through. Here we go. Venuanero sertureum, venu sorterirarei, venu sorterireum, venu turar sararei, venu surar turersium, venu sorderirei, venu surovirterium, venu sorervione, serte, 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 seremi kasha, seremi kasha, seremi kasha, kua, kua, kua kasha, kia, kia kasha. Language of the kash, 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 kash. Kunani kiste, este, oste, este, iste, oste, ete, ida, aru, ura, e kash. Kue, 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 kash. Kesa tu uste, elasi, tu du urma. Yo le bon, sete, ile verasai. Yo le mene koste, este, ele person, tete, ire kasha. Ekakia, ekakia. Ekakia kash. Esa, si, asi, Moshe. Si, 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 si. Esa, esa, esa. Lara, while I'm at it, I'm just going to do some numbers, right? Now, beautiful ones, I speak a number language of creation because unfortunately language has been dumbed down, right? Also, symbols have been contaminated. Language has been contaminated. The number language of creation comes in to hold the highest light quotient in a number, which is beyond contamination, right? So right now, I'm just going to, these are not numbers for you guys to write. It's just numbers bringing through energy that I'm helping deliver, right? As well in the company of the light language and the Akash language. So here we go. Just receive the energy in this way. 836, 836, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 21, 386, 10, 12, 36, 18, 21, 386, 10, 12, 386, 10, 12, 36, 18, 21, 21, 21, 21, 21, 21, 21, 21, 21, 386, 10, 12, 36, 18, 21, 21, 21, 21, 21, 21, 21, 21, 21, Asua, Sua, 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 Sua. I ashte, ishte, oshte, keshte, umasua. Elle patente, c'est si cher, ust, le menton. Elle parie, elle parera. Now, the high pitch at the end, I call the fairies or the elementals, right? Again, to me, it's all source, right? We gave those names, right, to the energy frequency source expressing. So we're used to those names, right? So we say the fairies come in to touch that heart, right? But source expressing as the fairies, right? To touch the heart and the inner child, to help with some of this conversation that we're having, those very expanded views, right? Sometimes to release those is a bit, everyone holds them so tight, you know? So to help let that go a little bit and to help that heart with that. So thank you, Brenda, and thank you, everyone. Satue, 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 Satue. And I love when Alara's
I'm
yawning.
feeling like my,
Because Alara.
I'm feeling my right.
Go ahead.
I just want to say, Alara.
I'm feeling like my.
Oh. Let me say something, Brenda. I want to say, Alara, I love when Alara yawns, right? Because I'll have some clients, they burp, right? When they're in the field of high energy, and Alara yawns, right? So that is just like a showing of proof, right? Of her when she's immersed, you know, in a very, very high energy field, she yawns, you know,
I do.
In her way. Yes, you know, and I'm sorry, go ahead, Brenda, what were you going to say?
And it's funny because I'm a burper, and I always joke with people when I'm burping that it could be worse. I could be passing gas. So, so I'm feeling my right eye and right brain a lot. So is it processing?
Beautiful.
Or?
Yes, because when I do the numbers, if someone, let's say, comes for a session and such, they are writing numbers, you know. And when they write the numbers, it works with the neural networking, right? So as I'm saying those numbers, it's also working with the neural networking, right? Because we also need to get out of, right, that old neural networking that has been there. Can I just take a sip? Hold on. Beautiful. Let me just do a little something else. So I hope we're going to have a package later on where everyone could come and do, and take whatever I'm doing and bring it even more personal, right? And deeper, because this is like quantum light, quick, fast track, and everything is going so quick now, which is great. Because years ago I did work behind the scenes from 2012 when I was ignited to move everything quicker, right? And we all are here helping to support those highest timelines. Let me do a little, you said the right one, the right?
Yep.
Kosoa, Kosoa, Kosoa. I have to do some coughing, right? You burp, you yawn, I cough. Cough is releasing for the work on you. So here we go. Sa, sa, sa. Sa, sa, sa. Sa, sa, sa. Hoya, 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 hoya. Hoye. Dash, 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 dash. Just så un est ar ut eriana. Koreana. Koreana, Yita ut ersirma ora, Yokoshti este elapa istaioma, Koye, Yehoa, sa. Yes. Esa. And as you're receiving, Brenda, I say it's like putting a pebble in the water. And as it ripples out, everyone else is listening, or to the recording, right? That'll be replayed, are also receiving, right? Because they're in the ripples of the energy. So as suitable for them to receive. Yes. So, yes, beautiful.
Thank you.
And don't worry, because all the energy, whether in the session and that you're receiving right now, still works through you, right? 2-3 days, right? So you have that releasing and that, acclimation, right, to the upgrades and such. So just let it work and flow through you.
Good. Awesome. Thank you, Brenda. Good. All right. Hari Kirtan.
Hello. Thank you so much.
Hi.
Laura and everyone. I've got a question. It really resonates what you do, and also the gestures. I also noticed lately I started to work with gestures as well, and they're very similar, like those, like around the head. They just came like intuitively somehow.
Beautiful. Exactly. You're moving the energy. So you're working with energy, right? Because yes, it's sound, but it's some people paint light, some people dance light, some people have motion and movement. For me, actually, it began this way with motion and movement. The work was an evolution, and then later on, the language of light, the language of caution, the numbers had come through. So that's excellent. So what was your question?
Yeah. So I'm feeling that something, as if I'm holding myself back, or something is holding myself back in terms of my work and life, even though I've been doing this work for more than 10 years, but it feels that it could be on a much bigger volume anyway, like more visible in the world, or, not from a normal human success kind of point, even that also, but I feel I could be more visible with this. And like I'm holding myself back somehow, even though I do it. And another thing is like I wish to align more my light work and my human female path, like to have kids and family. And I feel that was part of the sabotage, because I wanted them to be more in harmony, not that I just like devote myself to work and so I feel like I want them to balance. I don't know if there is any contradiction between those two, but it's almost like, I don't want to fully give myself into the work unless I have kids and family in place. So I don't know what's exactly
well, I hope that you will come and have a session, because we're going to do a little bit for you and it ripples out to everyone else. And in a session, we can go even more deeply into that. That's why I'm called healer to the healers and to all, right? Because sometimes people will hit a wall, or there's only certain things they can access, even a healer, right? They feel like I'm right there, but something is in the way or something's blocking it, right? So that's why someone as myself, and I know it's hard for people to believe, but I am an embodied Elohim, right? An ancient coder of creation. I didn't stay out there and like bringing messages through a being, I embodied for that. So to work at this level is so important. We're all important. We're all doing things. But let's just say as that having access to things, that will really help, and also to change your perspective, because you want a beautiful, like I said, master and the masterpiece, one and the same. You want to paint a beautiful full picture, right? Of family and your work and all that you're doing, like Laura has children in a family. I have children in a family, right? So yes, you can have it all, as we know, and balance it and, And it's beautiful. Your children, you don't have children yet, right? You're talking about you would like to have children.
Yeah, I
you
don't
know?
have them yet, and I would like to have them.
Yes. So, you, like Alara, has brought through, and all of us, whoever has children, like our parents may not have understood all this, but look, they brought through us, right? By no coincidence, to be here to do the works we're doing and hold the light each generation. Yes. So if you want to have children, like Alara's children, like my children, they are here, beings we brought through who are also holding light in their way, So you also know that you want to do that as a potential, right? Because it's if you, decide, like there's agreements already, right? But if you decide to take it to fruition or not, right? Always many paths of possible potentialities, and as parents, we know, you see, you're already saying, I want them to be this, right? To be the best parent, right? You allow them to be who and what they are, and you understand that all the children coming in are higher vibratory beings, right? Very ancient beings that were able to come in and incarnate now that would not have come before because the energy was too dense for them, right? But now they're here because of the works we have done to open up the energies higher so they can come in, right? Even higher vibratory beings, right? And as Alara was saying, and I'm saying, all these new potentials, things are changing. So imagine when you have your children, right? These great potentials that you'll be bringing them through that they can take part of, and you as a mom will be able to witness that, right? Whatever they want to do, right? Not you to mold them, right? They're a beautiful, unique soul and agreement that you have to bring them through, So I hope I'm going to speak some light for you, but I hope you'll come and we'll take it even deeper, right? In the session, because it's a 90-minute session and you can, or a 60-minute session without numbers, and you could access. I got to do some coughing a little bit for you, deep releasing. It'll ripple out to everyone else. Dosita odoya, doya sito oste erta artoro doya, makua sia, bahoye, sartua, hue, sia mekashko soe, uratiro serhiro siria, urasi, kukua, si. Vasuma ua, like what's back here at the base of the skull, the top of the spine. Do some releasing from that place. Evwa. Remember, rippling to everyone else as well as suitable for them. Evwa. So hua tutu uere, up the spine 3 times. Down the spine. Sahoy, tash toshte, asu toshte, isaya. Now for some generational ancestral releasing, not only from this life, but your other multidimensional lives. Remember, all the aspects of you I can work at, right? As many as we could do, hundreds at a time, right? So here we go. The Native Americans bringing in the ancient ones, which again are source to me, right? Only expressing through that energy frequency's name that we are so used to, right? Here we go. Okay, ancient ones. Gostu kundu suto hoita. Around the belly button. Hoita kundu sutuste utare. Bahoya between the legs. Gandu sukuti sikitayo. Coccyx bone. Hoitum stuhunta. Gondo sutua. Tuhundika stunda utiata. Sanduaye. Isanduaye. Isahua. Make that a little more gentle for you and everyone to bear. There you go.
Ooh, thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Awesome. Thank you, Hare Kirtan. Thank you. That was awesome. All right. Well, we're going to take one more quick question from, because it was, one second. I saw it here. From Jennifer Nieto. And I think this is relevant for everybody. So can you send me some light language to release my fear of being seen? which impacts my ability to be on my mission and show up in life for myself and others.
Very good, very good. Remember we were saying it's like the pebble, right, in the water and it ripples out. So everyone is asking a question by no coincidence, right? They think it's for them, but by no coincidence, because there are none, right? They're here to state, right, that statement, that question, right? By no coincidence, you're picking them so we can attend to that, right? For her and for everyone. Right? What's the other thing? When she's saying, always people kind of come on and they're talking about, I haven't done it yet. I want to do it yet, right? I want everyone to please understand, right? You're juggling the balls, right? You're doing multiple things at one time, just that you're embodied. Please stop thinking, I am not doing my mission. I'm not doing my things yet. Maybe because you're not speaking light or have clients or this or that. No, you're embodied. Look around you. They have no clue, right? They're sleeping. They don't have an awareness. You have inklings and understanding. You've been moved, right? Because you've come in, you're doing your mission and holding your light, right? So beautiful ones. You are doing it already. Whatever else will come, right? You want to do works to help reach higher octaves of energy, remove the old energies, right? So you can access even more of your gifts. People who have this work, some people speak light language, some people do automatic writing, you know, some people have more intuition and such, right? But again, you already have something as the beautiful heart, right? The beautiful aspect of the divine that you are in your uniqueness, having experiences for creation. Do you understand? You are a drop, right, of the consciousness field of source of creation, right? Here, having all the experience that you have had. So your soul has the information, giving it back to creation source in the field of consciousness upon its evolutionary, right, expansive journey, right, to know itself as all that it is and all that it is not, right? Yet to come out of that and state who and what it is after knowing that, having a full picture of itself. So you have all been doing this. You're doing so much, right? This is just something to add, right, to that, to bring joy to one, right? To add to the huge works, right, that they're already doing. Everyone looks at to everybody out, all the, right, the non-seen beings they love to speak or can't wait to hear from. Meanwhile, the beings of light, right, who I channel, they are part of all that is. I gave them the name beings of light because they are an energy signature stamp, just as we are, not any words to put who and what they are, right? So they accepted that name, you know. So they are a beautiful collective, right? But we want to always hear, oh, Lara, thank you so much for this opportunity. It's us, the beings of light, to be with you. Yes, yes, yes. Again, we say to all of you, yes, you are embodied. They are all out there. You understand? They have not immersed into the density, the forgetfulness, and the being stuck. You see, do not, so to say, sell yourself short. Yes, do that pat on the back multiple times, as Alara was saying. You understand, beautiful ones? Because you have come into that density, yes, to write it in the book of life. So look at yourselves from a wider perspective and be more gentle and loving to yourselves. You understand? The others that you look to, they did not take it upon themselves to go into physicality and all that it has entailed in the density and to forget themselves, as all of you have done, for love and experience. Yes, but again, never meaning to be stuck. Yes, that was not to be part of it. Yes, but now it is time, yes, to be released from that, so you can remember and have awareness of the virtual reality that you were immersed in and the expansion of your consciousness, yes, of who and what you truly are. We shall return you. Thank you, Alara, beautiful ones. Yes, we thank you, we thank you, thank you. Yes, we shall return you to channel. All right, guys, that was the beings of light, right? Sorry to give you a heads up, but just again, because that's so important, right? Because they were saying about to be seen, right?
Yeah.
So that is to see yourself also from a different light, right? You want to be seen, but also begin to see yourselves, right, from that bigger picture of who and what you are. And that'll go hand in hand, right, with the bigger picture of what she was talking about. Okay, so, and I hope everyone, if they can, come and have that session and take this even more deeper, right? So here we go. C'est le perro sortireum, che septura, che serturo sorteri, menusare serereum, menusore, menusorar hurare, becesira, tosevare, se la turara chioreum, mesodire, vesuare, menuntura saioneum. Tatua kasha kasha kasha. Indicate Kash, language of the Kash, 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 Ikia, Kia, Kash, Eskut, Ushkt, Eskt, Eshkt, Ekikium, Ekikium, Sia, 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 Esesa. Again, I'm working on all of you, not only, right, your physical beingness here, your multiple Gaian aspects, right, because it's all time happening at one time, not dead and buried, other past lives, it's all happening at one time, and your multidimensional, right, aspects, right, galactic, cosmic beingness of experiences that you have had. So we're working on all those, right, as many as we can at one time. So leila, o leila, sumatua, sumatua, sumautua, suhua. Sahua, sahua. Sí, así, sí, así. Esa, esa. And Alara, talking about expansion, we have to remember the time to bring in the mother. Remember, I think I had brought her through a couple of times on the shows. The mother is not mother, father, God, right? Or mother Gaia, they used to, right? This is the mother, which is the womb of creation from the primordial point, right? Of beingness, plasmic beingness, of that conscious of that womb of creation that all came forth. And one of the messages also I bring through is time to follow that umbilical, that lifeline back to the womb of the mother, right? For that transformation, that transfiguration, resurrection, that nourishing, that nourishing, right? Of oneself like they are in the womb. So let's not forget to bring through the mother for all of them later, right?
Absolutely. Wonderful. Thank you. All right. So we are going to take a few more questions after, but I just want to talk about the special offer that Audrey's been talking about working with her more one-on-one. So if you are on the live page, you can click on special offer. If you're not, you can go to alara.at/show/Audrey10. Let me just, Audrey10. And so Audrey, this is about basically package A is a 60-minute personal session with you. Package B is a 90-minute personal session with you, which includes the sacred key code number language, the personal list of numbers. So let's talk a little bit about what people can expect in a personal session with you as well.
Thank you, Lara. So thank you for the opportunity to have your beautiful family of listeners being able to access this. Thank you. So the first session would be an hour, and that would entail the languages of light and the language of the Akash, and then have an opportunity to speak with the beings of light. And now this is not fortune telling, because as the beings of light always say, these are the times to throw away those crutches and training wheels, right? That was the old way of playing when we're used to that. Now it is time to get our footing again, right? In our godhood, our sovereignty, our divine birthright, right? To remember we are the master and the masterpiece, one and the same. A great master, he or she, does not wait with their canvas and such and wait for another to come and tell them where to put the colors, right? On their creation, No, yes, it's different to have help in this to help us to stand as the master and the masterpiece more, because we forgot that we are that, right? So you get to speak with the beings of light. Some can feel their energy, and to be wrapped in the love, right, of them coming and have that communication. Second option, we're going to add 30 minutes to the 60 for the second choice, right? So a 90-minute total, which has everything that I just said: language of light, language of Akash, speaking to the beings of light. But then also we're going to bring through the mother in there in that 90-minute session, and they're going to have the opportunity to not only have me speak the number language for them in the beginning of the session, have some sheets of paper, and you're going to write your numbers down. And this is not a 12 list, 6 list, 4 row of numbers. These are front of page, back of the page, right? It could be 50, 60, whatever it be, list of numbers, because that's codes for you. Right? You're receiving the work while you're writing the codes in your neural network, right? To work with your unconscious, subconscious, childhood issues, generational, ancestral things. So through the DNA, you're helping raise them as well. And again, your Gaian lives, as well as your multidimensional aspects, right? Galactic aspects as well to work on. Then the beauty of that is you're going to have a tool that you're going to come away with. Remember I said languages and symbols have been contaminated, right? But the numbers hold the highest like quotient beyond contamination that you can work with then to access that energy and apply it in any way you would like, right? You can think on what's positive, you want to help support, bring to you, what is something negative that may be happening, right? To yourself or to others, right? Because your children, family, they affect you, right? We can't take the cup from them, but we could help support the energy in that, right? For higher potential paths, right? to come through. So you would put the energy, what is negative that you need to be dispersed, to be dispelled, you need to be helped to be fortified while that's happening, right? And the third way to use the numbers is you just shoot out the numbers and don't think on anything particular, because that's helping you support your energetic field, right? Because we never know what happens, right? Come what may, moment to moment. And when you do that as well, like I tell people, you could set all the intentions you would want to set, and that's a beautiful thing. But you know what? You don't know what is bleeding through another life, or you don't know about the unconscious, subconscious, right? Or the generational DNA. So you may leave things out. So this way, that would help you cover the things that you would never even know to begin in conscious mind, right? To set intentions for. And the next way is you just keep the numbers in your field, whether people put it under their fitted sheet or in their purse or their wallet or in their room, so that energy is being held for the numbers as well. So that's what you get in the second option. And do we have the calls? Are they there?
Yep. So package C, yeah, are the previously recorded classes from the welcome room for orientation. Let's talk about that. So these are basically, if you've never worked with Audrey before, if you're new to Audrey, then this is going to be a wonderful way for you to get to know Audrey even more and, get a taste.
Yes, and the beauty of it is it's a little community, so I'm asking questions. And again, just as here, the question is by no coincidence, right? Ripple out the energy to everyone who was on the group live and whoever listens in later on. Actually, that's the welcome room, or right now I'm doing the Trinity calls. So I may also, because I didn't have time, I'm so sorry to tell you if to put the word Trinity call. So it may be 3 Trinity calls, that I'm doing most recently, because in the face of all of this that's been happening now and going on, it really helps to support others to have some energy coming to them that they can listen to on the recordings, and the conversation that they may enjoy. And also there's a fast forward. So let's say they want to fast forward at any point, they can do that, also as well, because sometimes the calls are about an hour and a half, 2 hours. It depends, how long. I don't have a tight clock on it. However, it.
Yeah. So there's so basically it's three Trinity calls, right?
Yes, pre-recorded calls. Yeah, okay. That they'll have. And also I love in those calls, if they do get them at a certain point near the end of the call, I ask everyone to join together. We're all joining our lights, right? And we're shooting that out there. So whoever would be listening in would join in at that time to do the same thing, any gifts and abilities they have, right? Just their beautiful heart and light, even to add in their consciousness and awareness, because we are saying we're helping support the field for the dissolution of the lower timelines, right, and those agendas. So the importance of us joining collectively, so we make sure that we maintain those higher potentialities, right, of the higher timelines. And so we're doing that on the call as well, so they can make sure that they would take part in that as well.
Awesome. So all of those are available at alara.at/show/Audrey10. Awesome, thank you. And you definitely want to get a session with Audrey. Get package B if you can. Those number. The sacred key code number language is awesome. It's amazing. It's not anything like what you would expect. It's not like 5 numbers. No, it's pages of numbers that you write down, and you'll start to feel the shift in your field as you're writing them down. And then afterwards, of course, you have them to use whenever you need to, like Audrey was talking about. But you definitely want to get package B if you can. And I know with Audrey, it's like, sure, it's 90 minutes, but she usually goes longer, depending on what's going on, depending on what, the beings of light bring forward, or what mother wants to say, or whatever, so it's always more, because Audrey always over delivers as well. So you definitely want to take advantage of that.
Thank you. Yes, I don't have a tight time clock because I don't work in time, right? It's so hard. Like Alara knows, where's the show? She's not here, right? Like 2 minutes before, I'm hopping on. I don't do well with time, right? Because I'm so out of time. So yes. And the other thing is, we always try to remind them, Alara, when I'm speaking the numbers, I go very quickly. And I don't want to startle them to think, how the heck does she think I'm going to be able to copy numbers when she says them so quickly? No, when we're bringing through the numbers, I'm writing the list as well. Yeah. So I'm saying the numbers, I'm writing them, and we go much more slowly so I can make sure that they're receiving the list properly. Oh, and Alara, just to mention, it's a very long list, right, of numbers, and it goes 2-digit, 3-digit, 4, 5-digit numbers, right? It's a weaving of those codes. But in the new year, in this 2020, right, they also came in a new way, which is like I've been doing, right? Very rapid fire kind of numbers, which are only 2 or 3-digit numbers. And you get them later on, which is like an accompaniment, an anchoring point for the longer code that they'll be writing. So that's what they'll be receiving if they choose that one as well.
Awesome. Thank you. Good. So now I know there was a question from Jennifer Grace, and she was saying, Audrey, thanks for showing up and reminding us all that we don't need intermediaries to tell us how it is and what is true, and to create from the place of, because we have our answers within. But how do we stand more firmly in this knowledge and operate at all times in this way? And if we are all and have all frequencies within, how do we access all that wisdom and knowledge? Example, energy, intelligence of the angels, ascended masters and guides.
Well, that is the thing, you see. It's within us, meaning what's within us is our soul, our eternal beingness, right? The true essence of who and what we are. This is just like a suit that we have donned, right? Just as you don a spacesuit, right? Or under the water, deep diving suit. Our consciousness, that's why we say higher self out there, because the consciousness is so huge, you can't put it all into this vessel, this biological technology that they're within to have experiences. So that's why it's us, right? And not the higher self out there anymore. This is about now, right? Before in density, we couldn't have a lot of light, right? To have those experiences. But now we're us and the higher self joined together. You are that higher self, right? Within you, that beingness. And again, not to always use as crutches and training wheels. I know we love the angels, masters, and galactics, and it's beautiful, but this wider expanse of understanding is to understand you can't keep using them as crutches and training wheels. They were there before when we were in forgetting, right? Remember, we were going to enter into a virtual reality, an experience, an experiment, and forget who and what we are. So we are source that was having that experience, playing that game, that adventure, that experiment, right? With creation, right? To play in the polarity duality. So in that, we were going to forget who and what we are so we could have that experience. So the signposts, right? Those beingnesses within the game, within the virtual reality, to remember for us, right? What we were going to forget, right? So beautiful, loving beings. But now it's a time to understand and take back what is ours, our divine birthright, our sovereignty, our power to understand I am God embodied, right? Wearing the mask of who I am, but now it's time all the masks fall away to understand there's all one beingness. That's why in the new future point, we all love, respect, and honor each other because we remember and we recall that we are a beautiful, unique, right, aspect of the divine expressing itself, right, in the beautiful, unique ways. How do we get to that? Again, doing these type of works to help one to release and access things, right, that they maybe themselves cannot access. Again, as I said, I will work with healers. They say, I feel like I get a certain point and I can't go beyond that. So it's beautiful when one can take work such as this, which is a fast track. Yes, a fast track to access those things. So they could be on a fast track. And again, you are the earth angels. You're the ones that came embodied to walk through all this, right? And made it through as the shiny, triumphant, golden ones, you know? So let me just speak some light for her and everyone. Kerotorum se partiru, se verar tus terrose, keresirar torserirar torsurum, to say, we're talking about standing in our godhood. How are you going to stand in your godhood if you're asking everybody else that you think is greater than yourself, right? This is the new understanding, right? The new awakening and awareness, because you and them are all one and the same source expressing, wearing those masks embodied. Now it is time for you to stand in your godhood, yes, and have access to that. But if you want to keep looping in loops and playing the old way, how are you fully going to step into being your pillar of light that supports the new, right? That new creation? You need to manifest yourself. You need to color yourself in, right? So you are in resonance with that new future point that is there where you are, but to maintain yourself there, because past, future, present, all of it connects with each other and affects each other, to do the works here to make sure that you're maintained there and you make that bridge and you have that connection, you know? So that's very, very important. Tas ta oshta sum ta wom. Hai ta tu usta oshta arasura. Tule pile ile pilela. Hole pili lale ile. Tuta ota. Tuta ota sheri. Somia kokosu ut erisiram. Tule mole son titi atai. Bahoye. Sa. Si.
So,
Esa.
So can I ask something? Can you hear me?
Yes, are you the same person who asked the other
Yeah.
question? Oh, hello.
Yes.
So now I get
Oh,
to see you. Yes. Hi.
So in that context, you're channeling, you know, channeling light beings that you're working with and the mother and so forth. So how does that fit into the context of that?
Because
God.
they, remember I was saying, will say the name fairies, will say the name ancient ones that are coming, right? Oh, you Native Americans, right? That is a name that people are familiar with, right? But it is a frequency. To me, it's a frequency. You say that name because people are used to that, right? But it's a frequency that is source. That when everyone talks about the oneness, right? There is only the oneness, that we are as droplets of the ocean, right? Of that oneness. So the mother, not Mother, Father, God, or Mother Gaia, the mother is the consciousness, the field of creation, which is the first point of creation of consciousness, the womb, which all birth forth from. So that is why everybody and everything is all connected, the same thing, but different frequencies, different names we give to that frequency, which are different aspects of source, God, embodied, playing upon all those different frequencies and experiences, so we can know ourselves in a fuller way. So when I bring through the beings of light, the beings of light, they know they are part of all that is, right? They are a source expressing in a collective way, right? Coming to help us to remember that we are also source expressing. So it's like source waking itself up, you know, from what it entered into, to realize the bigger game that is being played, the bigger experience that is having. Are we just going to sit as eternal beings with source, right? In like when people pass over, they're like, oh my goodness, I'm part of all that is, and they're so overwhelmed, right? Do we want to just sit in that? Or source created all these beautiful, beautiful aspects of it, right? To come down and play and to experience and to know itself and make itself known to another of itself, you know? So we can have these beautiful experiences, which is source experiencing itself through all its creations, you know?
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Does that help some? Yes.
Yep.
It's just us, like in the new future point, we know that. We knew it originally when we entered into this, right? We put up our hand for as source saying, okay, we'll be the aspects of ourselves that go forth and play in duality. We'll forget ourselves. We'll play in the experiment of duality and polarity. But unfortunately, it went awry, right? From the parasites and such, you know, that traveled so deeply away from itself that it forgot who and what it is. So they became parasitic to feed on others. Yes, as many things throughout creation are parasitic. So this is a big problem and an issue why source is moving now, right? To pull the plug on that experiment so that portions of itself who entered into this can then remember who and what they are, like when they say going home, right? The bigger picture of what we are, who we are, which is source embodied. And in that new future point, we remember that and we know that. And what we created from a place of forgetting, we are now going to create from with this knowing and knowledge, right? This beautiful new creation, the new note for creation in us to dance through.
Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you, Jennifer. Great question. Thank you. And so that, you know, that's a, you know, something that I think a lot of us may be, you know, having trouble with. Is like, I only want to channel source. I only want to bring in the frequency and vibration of the highest that I can at this time. Right. So, you know, I am connected to source. I get it. I talk to source. I get it. But sometimes when I'm doing my healing work, for example, I also work with other beings, you know, so I do work with Archangel Michael. He comes through, but I am still, my first point of contact is source.
And this is like a new perspective, because I have worked very closely with Archangel Michael too, right? In the progression of my works, right?
Yeah.
But this is just like we're saying, a new, we're taking off the old filters, the old beliefs and paradigms. So it's an expanded view, right? Who is actually Michael? Part of an aspect, a droplet of the only one beingness that it is source expressing in his way, right? So you're accessing energetic frequencies, which are source wearing that mask, right? But this is a wider understanding. There's only one beingness. You are source, everyone's source, I'm source, right? Expressing the only one thing it is, but we're so used to, again, the names, right? Because we were going to play in forgetting. So source sets itself up to mask to wear as Michael, as all the multiple beings, so it can have experiences and express itself and support itself while it's in forgetting, right? All of us playing those parts in forgetting. Now it is a time to wake up and remember these beings are not greater than you. Any being that's going to come to you and you're going to bow down to them or hold themselves over you, that's a falsehood, because there's many right, that are playing in falsehood. People think I'm talking to this one and that one, and they're not, right? It's darker agendas portraying themselves as that, and they're being deceived, many, and they don't understand that, right? But this is to understand with wider eyes, wider understanding. Oh, right, Michael, I understand your source now, playing in that way, expressing in that way, right? Like Christ, when he said, right, I and the Father, right? It's one and the same beingness, right? A God embodied. I'm a droplet of that, expressing through my way. All of you are the same, brothers and sisters, right? All source expressing creation, right? We shall do even greater things that I have done, right? So would that be, right, that if we're going to do greater things that a Christ has done, oh my goodness, right? So you understand, where does Michael fall in there, right? We're doing greater things than even a Christ has done, right? If you want to put in levels, you would hold a Christ over a Michael, right? We're going to do even greater things than the Christ has done, right? Because why? We're standing in our godhood, all the masks falling away, understanding who and what we are. So you understand that little bit of a different perspective. And the reason why I talk about it, and I tell everyone, thank you so much, because I know this is not what you're used to hearing, but this is what the knowledge and knowing is, right? At that new future point where we stand in the pillar of light in our godhood and where we're creating from and understanding the bigger picture of things, right? So all your beautiful beings are there because why? They're source, but you have connection with yourself standing in your godhood again, than the characters, right? That source was playing in. Now you're standing as source, and I remember I am source. I recall I am source, right? A beautiful, magnificent creator being, accessing again the magic that I put aside to go into this limitation experience of duality and polarity, you know, and all the beings in the technology that were there to support me while I took that journey, right? So now we all see each other and know and remember each other on an even keel level, right? In the new future point, because we are source. And this is the time to get, let's say, acclimated and reacquainted, right? Or familiar with the things that were not too familiar to us, because the beliefs and paradigms didn't support it at that time. But in the Renaissance, right, this shining the light on all things to be revealed and to be made known, and nothing could be hidden in the dark any longer. And that is why we also have come. So that creation, it's been revealed through this, right? What lurks, right, in the lower vibration, so the light can be shown on it and it can be healed. And if it cannot stand in its godhood again, then in this time of the great divide, those essences, those beingnesses that have become parasitic are going to be absorbed back to the all that is, right? To be healed, to be remade, right? Or will wind up as dust in the wind, losing their gift of individualization if they cannot, right, stand in integrity, love, respect, and honoring, if they've lost themselves too deeply. That is why they say what was lost can be found. We are finding ourselves, right? Those things that have become so lost are being found, right? So it can be handled and not allowed the stuckness, the loop, the parasitism to continue. And that's why creation has come in to move, to get out of that stagnation, which is a contradiction to life, because life is about motion and movement. Life is not about artificial, like the artificial AI and transhuman that happened, that creation lost something of itself through that expression, you know? So creation comes, right, to be able to seal the book on the old and write in a new book. And those of us in resonance will take part and be writing in that new book with our beautiful new creations in resonance with who and what we are, and with our source of our beingness that we are.
Beautiful. Thank you. And so, you know, you can still work with, you know, Archangel Michael and Saint Germain or Mother Mary or whoever you want to work with. You can still work with them, but knowing, coming from a place of empowerment, coming from a place of I'm a sovereign being, I am source embodied, and I'm working with these beings of light. I call them beings of light. I'm working with these beings of light together to assist and facilitate a session or healing or whatever. But they're assisting me, they're supporting me. I'm not bowing down to them. They're not greater than me. We're both working together to help, you know, whoever, right?
Like we here are beautiful aspects, right? I love and honor you and everyone, right? Because we all understand we're the same thing of the oneness, right? Droplets of that. So we love and honor, respect each other in our uniqueness, right? Of who and what we are in our experiences that we're having to add to the totality of all that is, right? Experiencing of itself. So the same type of thing, right? So now, rather than before, ooh, the holy, 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 right? We are holy, holy, holy. We are divinity and divine. So you have a different relationship with that because you're coming from a different perspective, right? All of us in the room, God embodied, all of them with you, God embodied, right? So that raising from the perspective will allow one to even have wider experiences, right? From that level of beingness, rather than I'm the lowly one and please help me. You know, I had someone today who was saying about, you know, I need to use my crystals and my this and my that, you know, and I want to be able to hear them and access them more, or my skulls, whatever it was, tools, you know, and tools are fine if you want to play with that. But the thing is, what was coming through for her was like, when you put all your power in those things, you think those things, right, are doing the healing. The things are not doing the healing. What's doing the healing? You are doing it from within you. That's your empowerment. That's you understanding who and what you are as a creative being. If we take off everybody's accoutrements and things, what's going to happen? You're not going to be able to heal anymore. You're not going to be able to be who and what you are in your godhood and access your true magic. Yes, you are, you know, but those are, again, things that we played with, how it was, right? Experiences that we had, right? To interact and interchange with and create with, put on our picture, put on our tapestry. And we still can, but deal with it and have it and work with it from the wider perspective, right? That we're talking about here, you know?
Yeah, I mean, like sometimes I use my crystals, sometimes I use my essential oils, you know, I have my beads, etc. But I know that these are just tools to support me, but I don't need to, I don't need them to do the work. Right. And that's what you have to get. It's like, yeah, these are fun. You know, they can sometimes make it a little bit easier, but no, the power is within you.
Yes,
You know, the power is not in the crystal. They're a support system. They're supporting you, but the power is not in them. Well, you know, there's a little bit, but really the power comes from you, from source, because you are source embodied. And if you can't get that, then you can just say, okay, I'm channeling source, or source is flowing through me, whatever you can understand at this point, right?
Yes,
Because not everybody can understand that they're God. You know,
well, this is the thing, right? In the Renaissance that they were just speaking about this morning when I was in the shower, right? Talk about the Renaissance, right? The new Renaissance, right? Is what happened in the Renaissance. They were in the Dark Ages, right? And then there was so many new understandings, what was coming through. That's like what we're working on here, right? It's the beginning of that experience, and to bring it in more fuller and fuller, right? The truth of who and what we are. So this is to begin. That's why I'm speaking about it, right? It's different and people may be put off, but for love, I'm going to speak about what's going to put you off because I love you, because I want to empower you, and because in the Elohim embodied, that's what I've come through to do, not to perpetuate yet, right, where you were. And I will say something, and it's going to make everybody probably upset, and I'm so sorry, excuse me, but I must blow your minds, right? I have to take off the filter that was so you could stand empowered, different perspective, right? Work with the things that you love that brings you joy. But I'm just saying, do it from a different, higher, newer perspective, expanded understanding of that, right? So thus different experience, different understanding, knowledge, knowing, right? All the beings that you talk about, when we are going to have it revealed, some do not want to look. I'll just say the abomination, right? That has gone on over and over, the depths of the hell, the depths of the psychosis that has gone on, not only in this one life, but multiple lives looping over and over and over again, right? Did the guides tell you? Were the angels, masters, galactics able to stop this? No, they were not. It happened over and over again, right? So this is why I'm trying to say wider perspective of things, you know, when we understand the bigger picture of what has happened and gone on, and they are portions of creation helping to support other portions of creation, but we are the ones, right, that came in here to wake up source that we are. So we change the situation, take action, do not sit in just an Orwell's reality bubble. Well, horrible things are happening to other portions of the selfhood, right? Over and over and over again, abomination, atrocities, right? What do they do? The horrors to the children and all the things that have gone on over and over, right? All the systems that have been developed to keep everyone dumbed down and stuck in, and belief systems of an R-E-E-L, a real that was painted for all of you, that you think is reality, R-E-A-L, and yet it is not, right? So has that happened, that any big announcement has come from all those ones that you love and love to interact with for the numerous lifetimes that you have been looping in this, you know? It has not. So this is why us, right? We are the ones you've been waiting for. Have you not heard that how many times? Christ said, you shall do even greater things than I have done, right? So these are some of the perspectives to widen your perspective. Keep what you love, right? Play with what you love, experience what you love, but just we're saying, do it from a wider perspective so you are in resonance with the new knowledge, right? Revealed, right? The old knowledge, but the added knowledge and knowing of what has been going on and who and what you are, right? What you took part in, what you came here to hold the light, to say no more of, right? We're assisting creation to get out of that stagnation and forgetting. I have to cough because it's a deep releasing of all this energy. Evoir. Evoir. Soa. 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 The mother. Isa shawa. Uahiahoa. Just take that, right? Soothing in that womb of creation. Iahu asu tu siya. Yeah. Issa, the mother coming in again, primordial, plasmic, first point, right, of creation, birthing forth all things in that womb of the mother to come in these times, right, to help support you in that womb for nourishing support, right, love, to be able to understand. And even if you don't understand, you're hearing it, right? So it's in resonance with you, even if your mind, which is elaborate, right, cannot get it, it's being seated within you, right? So you cannot unhear what you have heard. So it's helping your soul and your journey, right, in your beingness to empowerment, right, and expanded opportunities at higher potentials that are available for you when you have expanded awareness and consciousness, that you can vibrate at the highest vibratory level and be open to those paths of potentials, you know?
Beautiful. Thank you. Wow.
There you go. Tell them about my wow, Laura. Do you remember?
Everybody who works with Audrey always ends up saying, wow. And I always end up saying, wow, in each call that we do. It's like, wow, you know, yeah.
So I tell people, come get your wow. And I tell Laura, and I told my kids when I was trying to find words to describe what I do, it's so lax because it's an experience, you know?
Yeah,
we try to grasp at words and they're so lacking to, it's more of an experience, you know? And so I told my kids, I should just tell people, come get your wow, because they always say, come, you know, wow, they would go, wow. And I say, come get your wow. I said, but unfortunately, people are going to think it's a selling tactic, and it's not a selling tactic. It's actual. And it's so cute, Alara, when I have a session and perhaps at the end, you know, after the session, first thing they'll say to me, they'll go, wow, right? When it's ready to talk to me again. And I go to them, remember, what did I say on the show? And they start giggling, right? Because they're like, yeah, you know.
It's so true. It is so true. Yep. I know. I hear it. I've done it myself, you know, so yep. Awesome. Thank you so much, Audrey. This has been so much and so important. It's so relevant, and it's something everybody needs to hear, and everybody needs to get that you are a sovereign being. Claim your sovereignty, reclaim your sovereignty, be in your power. And you know, I get it. I have those moments too when I say, oh, I should be doing more. Oh, I wish I could do more. You know, more, and then I forget. You know?
What more?
Already doing so much.
We are the ones who are stepping into this wider expanse, right? This has never happened before. You understand? We're making a new creation that was not made, right? Pulling the plug on that experiment of the old. And we are the ones who incarnated to walk through the forgetting and all that. You know, like I said, we're the little fish in the dirty fish bowl, right? All that we've been bombarded with, and still be able to do this and support creation from inside, right? What is happening, going on that was needed, right? We wouldn't have come if it was just what's going to happen from out there. No, we needed because the others' agendas that are very united in what they want to do, right? Meanwhile, everybody's all over the place. No, we need on this side, right, of service to self and that expression, the true magic and the light, to hold together and hold this, right? So we can affect what had unfortunately, right, become an infection in the beautiful system, you know? So what you're doing is huge, beautiful ones, you know?
Yeah, so give yourself a hug, pat yourself on the back, give yourself a break, and then say, okay, all right, I'm doing a lot, I'm doing enough, but what would be fun for me? And then do that. Yeah. Right.
What else would I like to paint in my masterpiece, since I am the master, right? And partake of, and whenever you can receive some help, right? Because realize I didn't only talk about what I'm going to do for you, right? Laura was so kind to allow me to come on and help bestow this on you already, right? And then you come and have that opportunity to take it even deeper, because this is thousands of lives, people, eons having been stuck in this, and lifetimes, right? Civilizations built up and broke down, built up and broke down. So it's huge, right? So one little moment is not going to do everything. Yes, a lot, right? But you have an opportunity, if you can, to partake it, take it deeper. And if you can't, for whatever circumstances and such, this is why I deliver on the shows, to make sure that everyone can have something. So thank you, Alara, for allowing me to be invited again to come and deliver that to everyone.
Oh, absolutely. And please do take a look at the special offers that are available at alara.at/show/Audrey10. And like I said, you know, get your numbers, you know, do package B if you can. If you can't, do package A. If you can't, do package C. Okay, there's those 3 options. Do one of them. All right. So thank you, Audrey. This was wonderful, wonderful, wonderful.
Thank you so much. Right. We were expansive, infinite beings. And the conversation and what we were touching today is that expansive, right? Infinite beingness, right? To look on it from that expanded view. So thank you so much for the opportunity to talk with you and with everyone and share.
Oh, thank you. And thank you, everybody, for all of your questions. They were awesome, beautiful. They brought forth even more information and energy, frequency and vibrations, right? So thank you, everyone. All right, until next time, may you continue to be blessed with an abundance of joy, peace, love, happiness, prosperity, and radiant health. Sending you all much love and blessings always. Bye for now.